Hi there, Zam here for NerdTube. These are my thoughts and spoilers of Kingstown Season 3, Episode 2, Guts. Our hero, the shining light of this glooming town, Mike McCluskey, a man who doesn't get appreciated enough by the very people who need him but don't necessarily want to use him if they don't have to. But at some point in this town, when shit hits the fan, people constantly turn to, and that's Mike McCluskey. Now, at the beginning of this episode, we see a prisoner in pain. He wants to throw up and stuff, and he starts throwing up. He's foaming at the mouth. He's convulsing. It's not a pretty sight. Then, as the episode progresses, we kind of find out that a few other prisoners are dying, and the reason being is that they have inside their bodies drugs, merchandise. Now, when I say inside their body, I don't mean that they've taken these drugs, that they've been implanted in them so it can be smuggled into the prison. Now, this is one of the things Bunny does to get the narcotics and sell it within the prison. But somebody has spiked his product, which is why these prisoners are dying. And Bunny wants to find out what's going on, so he's obviously asking Mike for help. But the law also wants to find out what's going on because these prisoners are dying in prison, and if it's more than what it seems, then they're worried that there could be some sort of pandemic going on. And considering drugs are also sold at school, next thing you know, kids could be dying from a similar cause in school. So Evelyn Foley asks Mike for help, and she reluctantly asks Mike for help. And this is the good thing about Mike, because at one point you do need to ask him for help when it comes to these particular issues. And that's why he gets taken advantage of and not really appreciated, because Evelyn thinks that she can do shit without Mike, but eventually everybody needs Mike. Now, there's no conclusion to who has been spiking this product. It could be the Russians, and we don't see the Russians in this particular episode. But I guess we will find out at some point during this season. Now, Iris, she has been basically living with the McCluskeys, doing what they want and stuff like that. She's been asked to go to the store to buy some groceries. So she takes Mike's late mum's car and goes to the store. She runs a stop sign. The police pull her over. She hasn't got a driving license, so she gets taken into custody. She's not being cooperative in any way whatsoever. She's not even telling the cops, listen, I'm associated with Mike McCluskey. I'm associated with Carl McCluskey, who's actually a police officer. She's not saying any of that shit. She's just being stubborn, and she's not cooperating, and she's fighting with the cops and all of that. And she's being put in cop jail, you know, the sort of jail cells within the police department. And Mike and Carl have no idea where the fuck she is. They don't know what's going on with her, and she's been missing for hours. Whether she comes clean or eventually things turn up where they do find out what happens to her, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm sure Carl will pull a few strings to get her out of jail so she doesn't get into any trouble. It might be beyond that now, because she might have gone too far with this, and she might have to go to court. Who knows? She hasn't really got any identification to prove who she is. So we'll see where that leads also in future episodes. Finally, there's this lady who has come to Mike, who wants to use Mike to find out what's happened to this one particular person who killed her son. And she wants Mike to stop this guy from coming out of jail, because this person who killed her son is going to be leaving jail. He's been like a good person, I guess, in jail, so his sentence has been reduced, and because of that, the mum doesn't want this to happen. She wants Mike to pull some strings so that this guy doesn't come out of jail because this person killed her son. She's very upset by all of this, but there's nothing really Mike can do. And so we just think this is just a regular little subplot and all of that. But it does come to an end when we see the same lady at a bus stop. And you can tell that she's up to something. She's moving about. She's not standing still. You can tell something she's planning in her mind. And we see the result of that when she pulls out a gun and kills the man who killed her son at that bus stop. And that's pretty much how the episode ends. So there's a whole bunch of things that are happening, but it's really well done, really well shot. Mysteries are occurring. We see the relationships that's happening between our characters. Iris, once again, I have to say she's a very frustrating character, but I don't say that as a detriment to the show. I say that as a good thing towards the show because she's getting a reaction out of me. So I guess that's a good thing, because of who she is. She's not somebody who doesn't play ball, even though she's been given opportunity after opportunity to pull herself out of shit. And people like, as I said in my previous week's review, that someone like Mike keeps giving this girl chances, even though she's self-destructive, if you know what I mean. Anyways, I guess we'll find out what happens in next week's episode, hopefully, regarding some of these new sort of arcs that have and storylines that have been created that need some sort of resolution at some point. I'm looking forward to it. So let me know what you think here at NerdTube. Leave a comment below. Did you like this episode? I liked it a lot. I'm going to mark it again. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I thought it was fantastic, intriguing stuff. Just watching all these things intertwined, so to speak. All these characters doing what they're doing, and Mike having to jump between one situation and another, constantly on his phone, asking for things, people ringing him up, not being appreciated 1 minute, being appreciated the next. He's just a fantastic character who's always on the move and can't stop for anything. He hasn't even seen his nephew yet. I think he does see a glimpse of his nephew through the window of his mum's house where his brother's living. But he hasn't gone up to see him yet since his nephew was given birth to by his sister-in-law in last week's episode. So he's so busy doing other shit that he has no time to see his own kin. But I guess that will happen eventually as well. Anyway, what a great episode. I just love this show. It's just absolutely fantastic. It is one of the best things on Paramount Plus right now, and I highly recommend it. Anyway, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube. We are the greatest YouTube channel you never heard of, and the name is NerdTube. Remember it.